Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today is a very special sweet treat episode of Messy Kitchen Monday. Way back in 2018, I had no idea what I was doing. And I developed a whole bunch of recipes, put them out on the internet and they were terrible. The pictures were terrible. My steps were all screwed up. They were more like paragraphs. They were just hard to understand. So this year, with doing things new, I have gone back and tried to redo some of that old stuff. And this is one of the ones that we have redone from way back in 2018. This is our lemon coconut cookies. And y'all, even though that old recipe looks terrible, it still tastes really good. So we're going to show you how to put these beauties together and show you that scratch-made cookies are not hard, and you can just about come up with this is a good cookie base, and you can add to it just about anything you want, and I'll talk about that as we mix the cookies. So hold on tight and let's get started. Okay. So cookies don't have to be hard. You don't even have to have a hand mixer. You just have to have a little patience and a little elbow grease. So today I am mixing these cookies up sans any electronic help, meaning no stand mixer, no hand mixer. It might take a little bit longer, but the result is the same. A scratch-made cookie that is delicious both in texture and in taste. This is a base cookie mix, and to it we are adding flavor profiles of coconut and lemon. If you take those two things away, you have a fantastic vanilla cookie base that you can add just about anything to. So this is one of those recipes, just get your wheels turning. So we have 1 cup of slightly melted butter. I put 2 sticks of butter in this bowl and put it in the microwave for about 45 to 60 seconds. Yes, it's partly melted, but it's not completely melted, and that's okay. These are cookies. It's not a cake. It's a much smaller area in where that butter explosion needs to happen in the pastry itself. So there's no need to have just room temperature butter. So to this I will add 1 1/2 cups of sugar. I will add the zest of 1 lemon, and I'm going to show y'all my plain zester. Okay, that's the top, and whenever I use it for cinnamon, nutmeg, things like that, I will do it over and I will grate it this way. However, on the bottom it has a trough. So whenever I am zesting a lemon that I've massaged, we've used a lot of lemon this month. So I will take it and I will just ever so slightly just run it across the top. I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm just taking the shine off of the lemon. Okay? So we want to zest this whole lemon, which ends up being about 2 tablespoons. 1 lemon yields about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of zest and about 2 tablespoons of juice, just so you know, an average medium to, unless you get those big Ponderosa lemons, then you get a lot more. So you'll notice I got some area on here that I hadn't zested, but that's okay because I don't want that white. I don't want that pith. It's bitter, it's not good, it'll ruin what you're doing. So I'm just barely scratching the surface, which means I'm leaving a lot on there, but I have my lemon zest, and I'm just gonna take my finger and just run it down the inside of my plain grater and scoop that out. Then we want about, about 1 tablespoon lemon juice. So I'm going to cut this lemon in half, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my egg. I got 1 egg that I'm adding in, and I'm going to reuse this to kind of juice my lemon over because we only want 1 tablespoon. So we're not going to use the juice of the whole lemon, probably just about half. And you'll see I'm doing this over a separate dish because it's got all kind of seeds and whatnot that come out of it. So I use my hand as a strainer, and I just slightly open my fingers and I just pour that lemon juice right over the top, and I hold on to those seeds or any pulp that I might have gotten and just place them back in my dish. So in here we have our slightly melted butter, our sugar, our egg, our lemon zest, our lemon juice, and now we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of good vanilla. I like to use baking vanilla. Baking vanilla is made with less alcohol. It's pure lemon. Lemon, listen to me. I got lemon on the brain. We've been doing lemon everything this month. It is pure vanilla extract, but because it's baking vanilla extract, it is cured with less alcohol, which means it doesn't have as much of a bourbony type flavor to it, or alcohol-y type flavor to it. So if you can get your hands on some baking vanilla, if you do a lot of baking, it's definitely worth the investment. And I think I have a link on some of my posts over at The Buttered Home that can help you find that on Amazon. I am an Amazon affiliate, and I do earn just a few little percentages of rewards if you buy from any of my Amazon links. Now we are going to, we mix that up well, and we want to put a little baking soda and a little baking powder and our salt in. Now you can mix your baking soda and your baking powder with your plain flour if you want to. This method I find a little easier because it just makes my life simpler. That way I know that there are no clumps, no lumps, no bad stuff in there. So I take my salt and I sprinkle it over the top first. We always use salt whenever we bake sweet items because it balances the acidity and helps enhance the sweet flavor. Now to that we are going to add in a half of a teaspoon of, and that was a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to sprinkle that over my wet ingredients. And then we're going to add in a whole teaspoon of baking soda, doing the same thing. The soda helps the rise and makes it a beautiful, wonderful thing. Now, let me explain to you why I like to add this in first. Y'all, we are adding in 3 cups of flour. Okay, so in that 3 cups of flour, sometimes our ingredients that help make our cookies or our things like that rise, they kind of get lost and they'll get clumped up and things like that. So by adding those agents in over your wet ingredients, number one, you're ensuring a good mix and you're ensuring no clumps. And then I add the 3 cups of all-purpose flour in, like in batches. So I put about half of it in, and I'm just going to fold in that 1 cup or that half of the plain all-purpose flour. And it's going to get a little stiff, and this is where a hand mixer is great but not necessary. Cookies are stiff and they're kind of hard to work with, but if you add it in just a little at a time like this, you can smooth it out and it's not all that cumbersome. So I'm going to do that in 2 sections. And this is where it gets a little harder. So I like to start out just folding that flour in and getting it started. Now, before we go too far, these are lemon coconut cookies, right? So the coconut, I keep it in the freezer. I just buy this sweetened or unsweetened coconut flakes, and I keep it in the freezer with my nuts. It keeps forever in the freezer. So we want about a cup of that. I'm just going to measure that in my hand. And this will also thicken this cookie recipe. So that's why I like to get the flour started first. If you're doing it by hand, that just kind of helps make everything a little simpler. And then that way your flour gets completely incorporated, and then your coconut gets completely incorporated, because you're going to be left with a really stiff dough here. Now over here to my side, I have a large sheet pan lined with parchment paper. If you have baking mats, you can use those instead, or you can lightly spray just a regular pan. Okay, it does not matter. I like for I'm a little OCD, and I like for all my cookies to look the same. But you can totally use a spoon and just spoon these guys out. But I like to use an ice cream scoop, and I don't do anything with this, but just put it down just like that on my cookie sheet. And we're gonna do rows of 3, and they look like little mounds of ice cream. And they will spread out, and they will cook, and they'll be beautiful and perfect and everything you ever wanted in a lemon coconut cookie. Now, if you wanted to, you could simply take your finger and just press them just lightly on the top to kind of help that flattening out start. So I did half of them like that. So when they're done, y'all can see the difference. This other half of what I'm cooking, I'm not going to touch, okay? So y'all can see if there is any difference at all. So I'm using just about a 1-inch ice cream scoop. So this will probably make about 3 dozen cookies. And they will not last long. All right, so these will go into a 350-degree oven for 13 to 15 minutes. Then we'll allow them to cool on a rack, and we'll come back and we'll show you how perfect they are. Now, another option that you have at this point, you can take just a little bit of sugar. I don't think we need more sugar, but we're going to do it on half of them just so we can see. This will be like A/B testing, okay? We put just a sprinkle of sugar on 6 of these, and we put a dimple in them, see if it makes a difference. The other 6 we're just putting on the pan as is, and no extra sugar on top, and we'll see what a difference that makes. I just want to see y'all how little bitty subtle techniques can make a big difference in your cooking game. So we're going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, cool them on a rack, come back and show you how perfect they are. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, we are back. We have finished about a 13 to a 15-minute cook time. I ended up with 3 dozen, but I was using that 1-inch cookie scoop. So you can totally make these a little smaller and get about 4 dozen out of this recipe. However, I wanted to just come overhead and point out just a couple of things. So on this side are the ones that we did not push down. Over here are the ones that we did push down, and so here's the ones we did not. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference. You get a little more spread on the ones if you just push down on it just a little bit, but this is just right out of the cookie scoop too. So y'all, they're fantastic. They don't have a ton of coconut in them, just enough to give it that yummy island flavor and a little bit of texture added to the cookie to give it that little something different. They're all beautiful. My house smells amazing. So these are our lemon coconut cookies, and they're on the cooling rack now, and Big D has been close by all afternoon because he smelled them and he needs them in his life. So I'm gonna swap the camera around and then we'll wrap this up, y'all. Hang on with me. Okay, so y'all, if you need a really good basic cookie recipe, this is it. And like I said before, you don't have to add the lemon components, you don't have to add the coconut. This is just, although, wait a minute, let me back up. You don't have to, but if you love those things like we do, or even if you just think you might like it, make them just as is. But this is a really good recipe, like so many more that we do, where we like to just show you how you can take and have a basic cookie recipe and then throw a couple of different things in to make it interesting, and you have a wonderful, beautiful cookie out of it every single time. The addition of the sugar on top just makes that top just a little crunchy, Of course, they turn out that way anyway, but this is a great way to bake up a batch, and look how pretty they are on the bottom. Pretty pretty. I could just smell these and be satisfied. Probably gain 5 pounds just from smelling them. But these are our lemon coconut cookies. We hope this shows you that you could take a basic recipe and add in some really beautiful changes and turn it into something new, delicious, and amazing. And if you haven't noticed, we're ready for spring and summer this month. I think we've had 3 recipes. Yes. Let's see, the shrimp, the cookies, and the potatoes all had lemon in them. And then the pico, the pico had lime in it. So we are all about a fresh spring. We're counting down the days. So this, if you want a little spring in your kitchen too, try these recipes, this cookie recipe, and lots of others over at thebutteredhome.com. We're real proud of our website. We would love for y'all to visit us over there. Also, all of our recipes, including this one, can be found there. We got a nice little search button there at the top and in the middle of the main page where you can just search till your heart's content and find everything you want. Also, if you're not already, make sure that you're following us on all of our social channels. We have lots of fun on all of our social channels and would love for you to be a follower on all of our platforms. And as always, if you want all of our videos in one place, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Y'all, it has been a great and wonderful afternoon of cookie baking. I have enjoyed it, and we hope that you have too. Let us know if you made these and if you love them. And as always, from the buttered home to your home, we love y'all. Bye.